How is it possible for 3 almost world records to happen on the same day? Clock. The hardest event to do officially, according to this one guy. With the advent of 7-simul, as well as the much more notable method 10-move memoless, the clock WCA rankings have shifted and changed so much that up is down and down is up. And we've seen so many incredible clockers rise out of the ashes that was the flip method. Because of this, the world record average dropped from 3.56 to an insane 3.13, a record held by Nicholas Austin Eliasson. But what if I told you that this record was actually bad? Clock is one of the hardest events to compete in officially. I mean, as the cool and handsome man said.
Also, officially, when your hands are shaking even the slightest bit, that can throw off your perception of turns versus what you're actually doing on your puzzle.
So many clockers have already achieved sub 3 averages at home, with some clockers globally sub 3. As a result, we're really only a good clocker and some good scrambles away from a world record, and possibly a sub 3 average. Almost anyone from the top 225 is capable of pulling it off at home, and all this created the perfect storm for one of the most unfortunate weekends in cubing history. But before that, I should tell you a secret. Come closer. Have you ever heard of the 303 Solvers brand? It's all the rage among the youngins, of which I'm a part of. I'm not old. Join the 303 Solvers Discord today, and you can meet cubers galore and be part of the many exciting projects and plans that the team are cooking up. You can chat with a bunch of other cubers, including me. I just hang out there sometimes because I am not 30 years old. Thank you for asking. Join today. The prior message was sponsored by 303 Solvers. Let's get back to the video. Carter Thomas has been an incredible and very credible clock solver in the cubing community for what feels like ages at this point. He was easily one of the fastest clockers out there, starting off with flip and moving on to 7-simul and 7-simul flip. In fact, you may recognize him as the former North American record holder. He's deserved world record for an incredibly long time, and has showed us this fact through his many YouTube world bests. He held every single YouTube world best until very recently, and officially he slowly inched closer and closer to a world record. Recently he got a 3.63 PR2 average, which was so incredibly close to a world record, but because of what can only be described as a clock moment, he wasn't able to get it. Think about it. In any other event at all, 30 degrees wouldn't matter. Para wouldn't matter. Square 3 wouldn't matter. Square 1 wouldn't matter. But because the name of the game was clock, it did matter. But all that was about to change on April 6th at Musket Go 2024. In round 1, nothing really special happened. Carter just only somehow got a sub 4 average with a counting 5. Don't think I'm gonna ignore that, that's absolutely insane. But in the second round, Carter would proceed to absolutely decimate that average. That's right, he got a counting 2.81, the second fastest counting single ever. If he can pull off 2 more good solves, then this average would have been world record. But because of the DNF, there was no room for error. He pulled it off, a 3.06 world record average. That is, until, in one of the most infuriating and horrible plot twists of all time, it was found that Solve 5 was a misscramble. Not just that, but it was misscrambled by a single tick. The theory at the moment was that it happened sometime during transportation. This isn't the first time something like this happened either. From Max Park in a 6.44 to Sebastian Lee's 1.34, quote-unquote miss-scrambles such as this have taken away world records from those who deserve it. And it makes no sense! Say everyone at a competition gets a specific scramble, except for one competitor who gets a scramble that's barely different. This scramble is an average one. so everybody gets average times, including the misscrambled competitor. Since the scramble was wrong, the competitor gets an E1. But this E1 is completely different from the original scramble, so the competitor gets a completely crazy time that helps them win the competition. Wouldn't it be more equitable and fair for the attempt with the scramble that's only slightly different to be counted, as opposed to the attempt with the scramble that's completely different? Well, okay, sure, let's say that it might not be fair and equal in the eyes of the WCA. Even if it doesn't count for, say, a better placement in the finals of clock, shouldn't it count as a record? The scrambles that he did were still normal and average scrambles. He still got world record on 5 consecutive attempts. I don't know, I feel like records in cases like this absolutely should count. But I definitely want to see your opinions in the comments below. Anyway, Carter had to do an E1 solve. He needed a 3.22 or better in order to get world record. And, oh, the scramble is crap. Out of all the most recent almost world records, this is probably the most unfortunate. In my opinion, there really is nobody more deserving of this record than Carter Thomas. And I hope that in the future, in cases such as this, the WCA will be more lenient for the reasons mentioned above. Huh, what a completely normal November 20th, 2021. Back when you could be top 100 in the world for clock with a 6.94 average. Take me back to those days, please. Surely nothing crazy will happen today. Brendyn Dunagan came out of nowhere, started out fast and kept getting faster. At his 4th ever comp, he got the North American record average with an insane 4.52. He then proceeded to smash this PR with an insane 3.94 average. However, there was only one slight problem with this. Brendyn broke all these PRs using Flip. Around 5 months ago, all of that changed as he began uploading a plethora of insane 7 simul times to his YouTube channel. He quickly achieved a low 3 global. His 3.94 was set over a year ago by this time, and it was due for a breaking. So all of that was about to change on April 6th, 2024 at Santa Barbara Cubing 2024. Brendyn now has a counting 3.01, the 3rd fastest counting solve of all time. An impressive achievement on its own, but in order to get a good average, he can't count the 8. Brendyn Dunagan himself reported that this round was the most nervous he'd ever been in a competition. The fact that even at his worst he was able to get times like this is insane. In the hardest event to compete in under pressure, he was able to get 2s and low 3s on mid-scrambles. Mid-scrambles! Dude, like, how is this even possible? But here's the thing, and I feel like this probably warrants a discussion about audience reactions and stuff. Santa Barbara Cubing was a local competition with 92 competitors. It wasn't Worlds, it wasn't Nats, it was a small competition in California. But if you look at the video footage of this average, you can see that with every single solve, a bunch of competitors began clapping and cheering in the backgrounds. When the last 2 solves were revealed as DNFs, you can hear the audible "aw mans" in the background. I don't know if Dunagan was affected by this environment, but I do know that other top solvers definitely would be. An environment such as this incentivizes top cubers to keep out of the spotlight. Now, I don't think that the spectator-friendly environment is completely horrible. That's not what I'm saying. But there are so many competitors competing at any given time. So much stuff happening throughout the venue. The attention of the spectators should be distributed across the entirety of the venue. At Santa Barbara, sure we had Brendyn Dunagan, but we also had Ethan Yeh and Drake Denton Richard, both of which got sub 5 averages in finals. I feel like that could help top cubers a lot more than if everybody's attention was pinpointed on a single person. Of course, I get it. It's hard to look away when you know world record is possible. I was definitely staring at Tommy Cherry when he got his NAR average in person in February 2023. But in those cases, if they get a good solve but they haven't locked world record yet, it's important to try not to react in any way, just to make sure that they can focus on their solves. Who knows? That one audience reaction may be the difference between a world record and a DNF. In conclusion, I hope that Dunagan will get that insane low 3 average that he deserved so much. I also hope that the cubing community can learn a lesson about how they can minimize competitor nerves. It's a rare feat to be able to dominate an event, to be better than everybody else, to be the best in the world. Such is the case with solvers such as Yiheng Wang, Max Park, Felix Zemdegs, and most recently, Volodymyr K. You know how I said Carter Thomas used to hold all the YouTube world bests until very recently? Well, Kapustianskyi is the reason for this change. He has a 2.995, a 20.6, a 2.2, He's fast, is what I'm saying. The last time he competed, he got sub 4 averages both rounds, breaking the NR average with a 3.71 average. A performance like this would have been insane for everybody else, but for Kapustianskyi, he was just getting started. Yiheng got ASR before world record, Felix got OCR before world record, and Kapustianskyi would get NR before world record. And all this was about to happen on April 6, 2024 at New ULM Reboot 2024. In the first round, he got a 2.71 NR single, just 0.08 away from the ER, ranking him 6th in the world. And the craziest thing about this all was that it even wasn't that lucky. But this would be quickly overshadowed, however, as clock finals rolled around. And on Sol 5 of his average, he did this. It was a DNF because of one tick. And it breaks me to wonder, if you're in a situation like this, is it better to safety or go all out? If Volodymyr turned just a little bit slower, he could have gotten like a 2.6 or a 2.7. But those wouldn't have been world record. With Thread 3, it's a much easier event to compete in officially, since it's offered everywhere at every single competition. The hardware is better, and the margin of error is lower. So a solver like Yiheng can easily go all out every chance he gets, because he's going to get a lot of chances. But with Clock, there just isn't that many chances. Despite how common and popular Clock has become, it's not exactly every organizer's go-to in terms of picking events. And even when you can compete in them, you'll rarely ever see a third or heck even a second round. As a result, solvers such as Carter, Brendyn, and Volodymyr are unable to get as many rounds. So now, the choice isn't exactly clear. Is it better to safety a merely good average, or risk it all on a great or even WR average? I believe that any one of these incredible solvers are capable of safetying a sub 4 average, but sub 4 isn't enough for a world record anymore. And I think that although all of these almost world records were truly tragic, these solvers were justified in risking it all for the ultimate prize. April 6th, 2024 will go down as one of the most tragic and unfortunate days in cubing history. But hopefully, it will also go down as one of the most meaningful. Because I think that with each one of these AWRs, there is a discussion to be had, whether it be about misscrambles, crowd distractions, or competitor mindsets. And by doing that, I can pretend like this video wasn't just a waste of time. In the end, it's exciting to be a clocker in the incredible era of 7 Simul. I thought 3.13 was already insane, but this weekend showed all of us that it really was only the beginning. And I, for one, am excited for what the future holds. See you at sub 3, thanks for watching, and good night.